Welcome to this explainer. We're going to completely decode the Etisalat Academy protocols today. If you've ever thought of field technicians as simply wrench turners or just the folks who plug in the cables, you are about to see a completely different reality. Today, we're revealing how these professionals are actually highly strategic network defenders, navigating intense operational minefields every single day.
Okay, let's jump right in. Have you ever heard of the rogue designer? It sounds kind of cool, right? But it's actually an incredibly dangerous illusion out in the field. This is the technician who tries to fix massive network issues on the fly, right from the ground level. They might think they're doing everyone a favor by bypassing a router or hard-coding an IP address to make a specific site run better, but the reality? These changes are literal operational time bombs. They might work today, sure, but they are planting explosives that will cause massive, cascading outages during future network upgrades. To keep from blowing things up, we're going to master 5 absolute survival skills today. Respecting the design boundary, dodging the customer promise trap, allying with your supervisor, learning from senior mentors, and finally, getting perfectly in sync with the NOC.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, respecting the design boundary. It's all about navigating that top-down design.
So this brings us to what's known as the architectural ego trap. Look, it's really tempting to think you can just fix a massive, complex network design right from the ground level. But the architects and core engineers, they're making decisions based on thousands of variables that we literally cannot see from a single site. Sure, your field observation is absolutely crucial data, but it is definitely not a green light to unilaterally change the infrastructure yourself. To keep the network safe, there are 3 absolute red lines you just cannot cross. First up, topology and redundancy changes. If you change your ring topology to a star just to solve one pesky site issue, you could literally wreck the traffic engineering for an entire city. Second, hardware vendor standardization. You can't just swap in a router because you happen to prefer it. That completely breaks the certified chain of compatibility and messes up the monitoring tools. And third, capacity and bandwidth allocation. Unilaterally bumping up someone's bandwidth causes massive backhaul congestion for literally every other customer sharing that fiber. Okay, so what should you do when you spot a glaring design flaw? Instead of going rogue, your real value is acting as a design consultant. You do this through a really simple 3-step observation loop. Step 1, thoroughly document the field data, like noting that a fiber path loops in a wildly inefficient way. Step 2, escalate it as a formal field improvement request. And step 3, you wait. Seriously, just wait. You've done your job, now let the architects evaluate it against the network-wide model. Moving right along to Section 2, the customer promise trap. Because out in the field, your casual words are actually binding contracts.
This is exactly where technicians stumble into absolute legal nightmares. You've got 4 major boundaries to watch out for. Time guarantees: never ever promise a fix by 5 p.m. That is a guaranteed one-way ticket to ruining everyone's weekend. Service upgrades: nope, you can't promise more bandwidth. Financial concessions: you definitely cannot waive their bill. And technical commitments: please don't promise a brand new fiber line by tomorrow. When you make these kinds of promises, it completely tanks the company's reputation and sets everybody up to fail.
Picture this. You've got a super frustrated customer, and they're trying to back you into a corner, right? They're asking, hey, can you fix my slow speed today? Instead of caving under the pressure, you hit them with the consultant script. You simply acknowledge what they need, but then safely pivot the conversation to the account manager or customer support line. You aren't brushing them off. You're actually protecting them by getting them to the exact team that has the real authority to change their subscription tier. All right, up next is Section 3, your supervisor alliance. Surviving the field means relying on your primary support system.
Look, a field technician who goes dark and doesn't communicate is basically flying blind. You've got to use the supervisor support protocol. Be predictable. This means proactive reporting. It means using the options approach, bringing 2 actual solutions to the table instead of just dumping a problem in their lap. Always respect the chain of command and create a solid feedback loop where you're actively asking, hey, how could I have improved after that really tough job?
But if there's one golden rule here, it's the no surprise policy. Never, and I mean never, let your boss hear about a problem from an angry customer or the NOC before they hear it from you. If a site visit is dragging on, tell them before you blow past the deadline. It's such a simple thing, but it completely prevents panic and gives your boss the heads up they need to proactively shift resources around before things hit the fan. Let's put this into a real-world scenario. You're on site, there's a severed fiber, you've got a screaming customer, and you are way behind schedule. And now your supervisor is calling. This is when you lean on these 4 steps. Step 1, stay completely calm. Step 2, Give them a crisp 10-second summary of the chaos. Step 3, provide your clear next step. And step 4, ask for specific help. Master that under fire and you are absolutely ready for the field. Rolling right into section 4, the senior technician mentor. These folks are walking encyclopedias of institutional knowledge. If you want to massively shortcut your own learning curve, you have to absorb their hard-earned instincts. How? By using the mentees protocol. Watch exactly how they work and organize their tools. Ask them really good diagnostic questions. Give them plenty of space when they're handling a high-stakes call. And above all, have a service-first attitude. Anticipate what they need. Grab the ladder, hold the flashlight. When you earn their trust like that, you get handed the real responsibilities. And there's a huge paradigm shift you need to make here. If you just ask, hey, how did you reset that card? You're essentially thinking like a mechanic. It's just a physical process. But if you ask, why did you choose to reset that specific card instead of checking the power first, you instantly level up from mechanic to engineer. You're digging into the actual logic behind the fix. And finally, we've made it to section 5, syncing with the NOC. This is the absolute heartbeat of the network and your ultimate strategic ally. This entire relationship boils down to the 15-minute rule. Remember, the NOC has the big picture view, but they are totally blind on the ground without you. And let me tell you, field silence creates serious NOC anxiety. So, give them a quick update every 15 minutes during a complex task. Even if it's literally just, hey, still working? No change. That constant pulse lets them manage customer expectations accurately. And when you do communicate, precision is everything. The NOC is drowning in hundreds of alarms. They have zero time for vague feelings. Typing in, the signal looks weird, is practically useless. But telling them, RX power is fluctuating between -22 and -28 dBm, boom, that is exactly the hard, actionable data they need to make snap decisions. Now, when the NOC makes a decision, you must remember this unbreakable rule. Never argue in the chat. You absolutely must get pre-authorization before performing anything high impacts, like rebooting a core device. Why? Because for all you know, the NOC is right in the middle of a delicate remote upgrade that you can't even see. In the heat of an outage, what the NOC says is law. Just say understood, execute the command, and document your concerns for the post-incident review. All right, we've decoded the protocols, from the boundaries of design all the way to synergizing with the NOC. So I want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you're out there in the field, look at the heavy tools in your bag, look at those blinking lights on the server rack, and really ask yourself, are you just fixing a single site today, or are you protecting the entire network?